All right, kids, when former President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 into law, it formally ended immigration-based discrimination against every country that was not considered Western or Northern Europe, especially in Asia. The act created a 7-category preference system that gives priority to professionals and other individuals with specialized skills, along with their families, which significantly altered the racial and ethnic demographic mix in these United States. Prior to what's also known as the Hart-Celler Act, named after the politicians who introduced the bill, the U.S. was 85% white. Needless to say, this is no longer the case.
The last 5 shows I've done, I've been looking for the Indians. And it's weird because there's so many of us in the world. So I went looking for my people. I went to 7-Eleven and it was full of Mexicans. They are stealing our jobs.
Because U.S. businesses, corporations, and organizations are allowed to employ foreign workers either temporarily or permanently to fulfill certain types of job requirements. However, and keep this in mind, employers must confirm that they are unable to hire American workers willing to perform the job for wages paid by employers for the same occupation in the intended area of employment. Well, Elon Musk was trying to convince white America on X, Twitter, not white America on the drug, that they weren't fit to fill tech jobs. Therefore, he and Vivek Ramaswamy, leaders of a newly formed department in Donald Trump's administration, aimed to dismantle government bureaucracy, reduce spending, and structure federal agencies called Department of Government Efficiency, would be forced to fill vacant positions with highly skilled Indians using the H-1B visa program. And this, of course, is taking place after Trump got elected due in part to campaigning on mass deportations of Mexicans, the other brown people who were taking jobs away from hardworking Americans. And by the way, if there were any so-called great replacement theory, wouldn't it be this? The point is, after everything that went down the last few days, white America ain't tired of Elon Musk? Does he need darker skin for the people he's called stupid to check him? I mean, if you think about it.
So when y'all gonna start telling Elon Musk to go back to Africa? Just curious.
I thought I knew white people better than this. This was eye-opening. White Americans just let a South African immigrant and a first-generation Indian call them dumb and lazy. This isn't the proud white Americans I grew up with. What happened to them? Focused all that energy on keeping black people down and got the rug pulled out from under them. Yeah, I've read about white America bombing black towns and drowning black neighborhoods for less. What's going on? What are they going to do about this? Should I tell them that a dog is being harmed in this process? Should I remind them that certain people are CEOs of multiple companies? I'm sure they've watched the news recently, trending topics. I'm not insinuating nothing. I don't know.
Very passionate people, my MAGA friends. And I respect their passion to some extent. I do. They're like, man, Ronnie, I love America. I would die for this country. And I believe them. I believe they love America. And I believe they would die for this country, which is very admirable. But it's like, man, you're willing to die for your country. Why aren't you willing to learn math? Also for your country.
Today we're going to talk about what's being called a civil war in the Republican Party. Sure, it started at the end of 2024, but it's bound to have repercussions in 2025, depending on how the white conservative voting bloc responds. And while I want to focus on conservative Asian Americans, my beef isn't with them. Despite them upholding the model minority myth as if it disproves systemic racism when in reality they're being used, as you're about to see. Also, something I've talked about before. Seeing how a major battle among the right began with Donald Trump appointing an Indian American like Kash Patel to be director of the FBI and Sriram Krishnan as senior policy advisor on artificial intelligence, we're going to start with the next president of these United States, Elon Musk. So if Amjad Masad questioned if there were instances where qualified native-born Americans couldn't get jobs in tech because foreigners took all of them, Elon said There is a permanent shortage of excellent engineering talent. It is the fundamental limiting factor in Silicon Valley. We should greatly increase legal immigration of anyone who is hardworking, honest, and loves America. Every such person is an asset to the country, but massive illegal immigration of people we know nothing about is insane. Now, when it was later pointed out that there has to be someone qualified among the 330 million people living here in America, Elon said, of course, my companies and I would prefer to hire Americans, and we do, as that is much easier than going through the incredibly painful and slow work visa process. Think of this like a pro sports team. If you want your team to win the championship, you need to recruit top talent wherever they may be. That enables the whole team to win. Elon added, however, there is a dire shortage of extremely talented and motivated engineers in America. It comes down to this. Do you want America to win or do you want America to lose? He then continued this sports metaphor with a body like this, having a nerve to talk about anyone being fit for anything. No judgment, no judgment. But then he brought up the NBA. And for one of my subscribers who wants me to talk about basketball more often, this is the equivalent of Kevin Durant responding to his own burner account on Twitter, saying the reason why he left the Oklahoma City Thunder is because he couldn't win a championship with the cats who weren't Russell Westbrook. Except KD either forgot to switch pronouns being used or switch from one account to the other. The point is, Elon is letting it be known that Indians are his Russell Westbrook in this scenario, and he is openly, overtly telling white America that he can't win with them. And he's putting his name on it. Russ has been side-eyeing KD all along, and y'all still trust Elon? Although Musk definitely has a burner account. Everybody, meet Adrian Dittman.
And don't hate the fucking big tech bros. Because out of all of them, Elon is the only one that's giving all of these crackheads a fucking voice. I want you to try and pull that shit on fucking Facebook and see how long you last. You ungrateful motherfucker, seriously. You keep crying censorship this, censorship that. You're not censored, your takes just suck.
Are you still with me? An account named Autism Capital summed things up like this. So basically, the right split into two factions, tech right and right. And the tech right is like, hey, we need H-1B visa people to do the jobs. And the right was like, no, you need to hire Americans. And the tech right is like, but you guys are the R word. And the right is like, well, you don't train us. And the tech right is like, you can't out-train being the R word. And while all this was going on, we relearned that a lot of people really don't like Indians. And you know what? Elon Musk agreed. He thinks white America is stupid. Too stupid for jobs in tech. And I don't think they're taking it this way.
So Elon Musk said that I am dumb. I don't think I've ever been more complimented in my entire life. The guy that I respect least on planet Earth thinks that I am dumb. I must be doing something so right.
Before I continue, if you're wondering why Black America isn't included in this, Black people only make up 3 to 5% of tech jobs. Elon is already under the impression that high positions we maintain are DEI hires. So he's not talking to or about us. Much of the anger being driven towards Elon Musk today is simply disappointment being projected by the R word right that's on the fringes of the conservative movement against Musk, whom they wish was an unrepentant racist like they are, said Ian Miles Chung as Elon replied with, exactly. Then, someone told Chung that he's fat, brown, and not even American. Keep America white, they said, and look. There's no way to tell by this one tweet what someone's political ideology is, and this tweet in particular isn't a reflection on any political party. However, the Republican Party is racist, too, also not exclusively. Elon Musk admits that the Republican Party is racist. He says so himself. Asians, white America just doesn't like them. They don't care about them, and really, they don't trust them.
You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American Black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian.
So black people caught up. Well, I was going to call it a stray, but Ann Coulter was aiming for us and Vivek there. I'll get back to Ramaswamy in a minute, but Coulter jumped in on this Indian Americans and tech thing on Twitter by saying American workers can leave a company. Imported H-1B workers can't. Tech wants indentured servants, not high-skilled workers. She's right. Ugh. If you didn't know, the H-1B visa is a non-immigrant visa that allows employers in the United States to hire foreign nationals for specialty occupations. These specialty occupations typically require a bachelor's degree or higher in a specific field, and the foreign national must possess the necessary qualifications to perform the job. The H-1B visa is valid for up to 3 years, with the option to extend for an additional 3 years. And there are costs associated with sponsoring a work visa, thousands of dollars. Additionally, and this is key, if an H-1B visa holder were to quit their job or get fired, they would have 60 days to get another job before being considered out of status and forced to leave America. It's more complicated than that, but yeah, a racist like Ann Coulter wasn't speaking up for the fair treatment of Asians. So this proves that, I guess, there were white conservatives who stood up against immigrants taking jobs and Elon Musk. They're in the form of politicians and pundits and possibly willing to have an affair with Donald Trump.
If you want to verify that my account is me and it's not some troll trying to pretend to be me, you're not going to be able to verify my account anymore because I have lost my verification, my blue check, because Elon Musk doesn't like what I said. I didn't dox anybody. I posted publicly available FEC records. I didn't incite violence against anybody. I am simply trying to warn the Trump administration about something that is going to blow up in their face.
Laura Loomer, seen here and in your nightmares. Her X account was suspended, along with many just like her. This should further let y'all know that Elon Musk isn't a free speech absolutist. Loomer was on a rampage the other day when I assumed the right would be busy spending the day saying Merry Christmas to one another. I was told they weren't able to do that the previous 4 years. She tweeted, "Can't have a family and keep having more kids while making $70,000 a year and also working 80 hours a week. You can make more money working 40 hours a week and overtime at McDonald's each year." And while showing a ledger from the H-1B salary database from 2024, she said, "So you're telling me that $70,000 per year entry-level jobs are 0.1% level talent?" To be clear, Laura Loomer, who is in your walls now, is also racist. But hey, a broken cock is right at least 2 times a day. Whether Laura Loomer was trolling or not, she told Elon, she added him. Anybody else find it weird that he spends all day responding to tweets he isn't mentioned in, then wants us to believe that CEOs are worthy of their pay and he can't seriously split time between all the companies he leads, which tells us he's not exactly essential to business. Anyways, Laura Loomer told Elon that he isn't MAGA, just got there 5 minutes ago, bought his way in, was buddy-buddy with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. She also claimed that the real president knows H-1B visas are bad for America, and the real president is from this country. And that's not true.
Anybody graduates from a college, you go in there for 2 years or 4 years. If you graduate or you get a doctorate degree from a college, you should be able to stay in this country. And you know more stories than I do, but I know of stories where people graduated from a top college or from a college, and they desperately wanted to stay here. They had a plan for a company, a concept, and they can't. They go back to India, they go back to China, they do the same basic company in those places, and they become multi-billionaires employing thousands and thousands of people, and it could have been done here.
You should know that in March of 2016, Trump said, "I remain totally committed to eliminating rampant, widespread H-1B abuse and ending outrageous practices such as those that occurred at Disney in Florida, where Americans were forced to train their foreign replacements," which is very much a thing that happened. Actually, not too long ago, Disney agreed to settle California's largest wage theft lawsuit, paying out $233 million to 50,000 workers who are or were owned back pay. Disney gave its CEO worth $700 million, a $423 million pay package in 2018. And Trump did try to suspend H-1B visa entrants from coming to the US during the throes of the pandemic. Yet, in 2023, Mar-a-Lago brought in a total of 136 foreign workers for seasonal work, according to the Department of Labor data. Those workers were requested on H-2B visas, which apply to workers in non-agricultural positions. That, per Newsweek. It's here that I want to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy's point of view. Remember, Trump said that Vivek wasn't MAGA, so how did he get here? He claimed the reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over Native Americans, what in the world, wasn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, but because of the C word. Culture. He went on to talk about Boy Meets World and Saved by the Bell, which further lets you know that he's talking about white people, although Topanga is the only white woman I've ever loved. He said a fact is that he knows multiple sets of immigrant families who limited their kids watching those shows because they promote mediocrity. And their kids went on to become wildly successful and STEM graduates. But who is taking this man seriously? Tangent time. This take is why I assume that Asians created this chart here. I made an entire video about it. For one, it lists multiple Asian ethnicities, separated white Americans from average Americans, which I appreciate, but didn't include European ethnicities or actual Native Americans. If true African American ethnicities were on this chart, they would be balling too. And again, my beef isn't with Indians, but they use misinfo like this to credit their success in America to culture or Confucius ideals, maybe. Instead of acknowledging that legislation led to the best of the best, the all-stars who would be successful anywhere from a country that has 1 billion people, come here and compare themselves to all black people. Weird. Byron Allen, Oprah, and LeBron going over to India, starting thriving businesses, creating a chart saying how much more money they have than their indigenous folk. Come on. It's because of our culture too, my amigos. That's Oprah. Not only did legislation lead to Vivek's parents coming to America, it was Democrats, President Johnson, and Senator Phil Hart and Congressperson Emanuel Seller. The Immigration Act of 1965 overturned previous American laws against black, brown, and foreign people that influenced Nazi racial plingers. Vivek's mother played a major role in how he made his wealth. Furthermore, Dems passed an immigration bill in 2013, I believe, which would have increased the amount of H-1B visas permitted to the US, but the GOP let it die. And before I continue, when I say that, it seems like Vivek got more smoke than Elon did for some reason for saying the same things. What's that about? It doesn't mean Elon got no smoke.
Oh, I think he is a pariah because let's look at his life. How many times he's been married? He has a trans daughter. He's for universal wage. Brother, this is not a conservative. This is not a conservative. And now the snowball is moving. We're going to bury this guy. Within 6 months, we're going to force Trump to let him go. Keep up the pressure.
I can't stress enough that my beef isn't with Asians, perhaps it is. But when @CloudWatch199 said, I'm deeply questioning my decision to support the Republican Party after witnessing the persistent and dehumanizing attacks directed at him and his people, he was totally fine when Republicans were racist towards black people and Mexicans. It's the I can excuse racism meme from Community all over again. What is this? I support H-1B visas being used here in America, and not just because my kid's pediatrician is Indian and all of y'all's doctors are Indian. Is that racist? Nimrata Haley supports H-1Bs too. She said as much as she opposed Vivek, which she usually does. Then there's this. I saw your post. Dude, you just don't get it. Democrats pay us lip service. When was the last time they put one of us in a high-ranking position? Kamala Harris? And the 130 Indian Americans in key positions of Biden's administration. How many Indians don't see Kamala as one of them because she's also black? I mean, black people do this to the vice president because she's also brown, so I get it. These are the two Twitter executives who banned my account for 2.5 years without cause. So yes, I have an axe to grind with high-skilled Indian immigrants. Not Elon Musk or Jack Dorsey, the brown people. White America would rather blame their problems on minorities than a white billionaire. See how this country is sowing doubt in the Singaporean CEO of TikTok because he's wealthy and foreign, but this isn't applied to Rupert Murdoch or Mark Zuckerberg. He's an alien. And who would have reaped from TikTok being banned?
I just assumed the reason they remained so quiet on the TikTok ban is that they were gearing up for it and they were going to try and transform Twitter, right, their space, into being like the new TikTok. But you can't do that if the entire app has imploded and turned on you and your party.
I would be shocked if Elon Musk is one of the Republicans trying to use his influence to keep TikTok from being banned. And I'm not surprised that his impact has pretty much made Twitter explode. I'm defeating my own argument at this point. White America doesn't wholesale like Asians. All this respectability politics stuff is for racial and ethnic minorities of the US, not the global minority. White supremacy needs allies. They're looking at Latinos and East and South Asians. The aim is for more numbers. And if more of white America can achieve class consciousness, they will see the many ways Elon Musk is trying to enrich himself. Look at his ties with China, who we've been told was an enemy of America. How does any of this benefit poor or working class America? The people who could benefit from free or reduced higher education, like they have in other countries that receive H-1B visas. Elon Musk is a proponent of getting rid of the Department of Education and then tells his supporters that they aren't talented enough. Isn't he the fundamental factor in Silicon Valley for white people? He created conditions for neo-Nazis to be more racist on X. And after all that, he then has the nerve to say, please post a bit more positive, beautiful, or informative content on this platform. Elon Musk thinks white America is the R word, and he secretly disowns MAGA.
Oh, promises made, promises kept. You're not original MAGA. You don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not MAGA at all, motherfucker. What are you talking about? I'm not a political individual. I'm like this thing. I'm like a UFO above like some sort of strange Walker source that just like is floating there above the psyop layer. That's what I am. I have literally zero political thing with anyone.
Okay.
I don't care.
That's your problem because you don't
I don't care left, right, center, inside out.
You don't understand us. You don't understand.
Sad, really. As much as I want to say FAFO to conservative white America, it is up to all of us now. I'll end with this article from the BBC, Foreigners, about why people vote against their own interests. This was written after Trump's first presidential election victory in 2016, which made it harder for the Obama administration to pass healthcare reform. The BBC stated, it is striking that the people who dislike the whole idea of healthcare reform, the ones who think it is socialist, godless, a step on the road to a police state, are often the ones it seems designed to help. Those may be the same people who, 8 years later, Googled, how many votes do I get? How do I change my vote? What's a tariff? They don't know that the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same thing. Author Thomas Frank said that whatever disadvantage Americans think they are voting for, they get something quite different. Quote, you vote to strike a blow against elitism and you receive a social order in which wealth is more concentrated than ever before in our lifetimes. Workers have been stripped of power and CEOs are rewarded in a manner that is beyond imagining. It's like a French Revolution in reverse, in which the workers come pouring down the street screaming, more power to the aristocracy. American white people, what is it that you love about the American Revolution? Would it have been better if there were guillotines? And who do y'all consider us? We gonna be all right. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to members of the channel. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate, and Happy New Year to those who recognize linear time. Happy holidays to all. 2024 was, I'm grateful. I'm grateful, and hopefully in another few hours I'll be able to see 2025, and I hope that I see the rest of you there. Until then, as always, I haven't said this in a while, my architect knows Japanese.